This is the most template FPL team on planet Earth, filled with the most popular owned players available. But is this team actually any good? Let's find out. This right here is the most popular team possible, the most mainstream opinions in this entire flat world. So if you're an FPL manager who still thinks the earth is round and the moon isn't made out of cheese, then this is the team for you, sheeple, because there will be some ideas here for you to steal. Myself, I'm a paranoid conspiracy theorist, which admittedly probably hasn't helped my FPL seasons in the past, as I was too focused, going against the narrative, flooding my team with too many differentials. But if, like me, you've wondered where a super template team like this would actually rank, well, we're going to be finding out. I'm going to have a second account managing this team and following the trends each week for the entire season. So subscribe now to keep updated on that. So right here, I have a list of the most popular players available copied over directly from the FPL website. And if you want to skip ahead and go straight to the team reveal, then I've timestamped it here for you. But I do need to show you how the team was actually chosen first to remove any doubts that this is indeed the most template team possible. It won't take long, so for those good boys and girls who have stayed, you can see that in this handy Google sheet, we've got player names, price, ownership, position, and their team. Now, it's not as simple as choosing the top 15 most owned players because A, that team is too expensive at 110.5 million, and B, currently there are too many defenders and not enough midfielders. However, if we do look at the top 15 most owned players and calculate their individual ownership percentage, put it together, you get a total of 471%. Our goal then is to get as close to 471 as possible without going over £100 million and meeting the usual FPL team rules as well. So how is this going to work? Without getting too boring, I plugged in a calculating tool that will scan this list and meet certain criteria. Specifically these criteria here. I've told the calculator its main goal is to maximize the total team ownership by selecting 15 players, 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards, capping at 3 players per Premier League team. And it has to achieve this by not going over £100 million. It can make a cheaper team. If it can make the most template team at just £80 million, for example, it will do it for me. It just can't go over £100 million. So now all I have to do is click Solve Model for it to start calculating. And this shit gets me hot under the collar. I can't lie. When I click Solve Model and I see it calculating away, it does things to me. It's lucky I don't have my camera on because what you would see would get me banned from YouTube. So that's the explanation done. Let's find out what our team is. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, don't stop calculating. And here is the team, and I won't lie, it does look pretty good. It seems the sheeples have chosen wisely. And remember, I said this season I'm going to use a second account to manage this team to see if we can better it and beat it every week. And it looks like it's going to be difficult. So who have we got? In goal, we have Kelleher. Smart choice, good price. In this stripped back Brentford team, he's going to get a lot of save bonuses. I don't think Brentford are going to leak in goals as some think they will. And Brentford have decent early fixtures, so he's currently in my actual team too. So yeah, good pick. In defence, we have got some really solid picks. Ait-Nouri at City, Frimpong at Liverpool, and Wan-Bissaka at West Ham. So really attacking fullbacks. And Konza at Villa. All 4 of these players have decent fixtures in the first 6 game weeks. So it is definitely possible for these defenders to get some decent attacking returns and clean sheets on top of that. On to midfielders, Salah and Wirtz. These 2 Liverpool players that I have in my actual team as well, for obvious reasons. Last season, I think Salah scored his highest ever FPL tally. He doesn't look to be slowing down, so he's an obvious choice and close to undroppable as you can get. And Wirtz, last 2 seasons in the Bundesliga, I think he got something like 40 or more goal involvements in 65-ish appearances. Absolutely crazy stats. And in this Liverpool team, that's even scarier than last year's team. I think he's a shoo-in as well. On to Kudus. Kudus for only £6.5 million. I can see why he's popular. A starting attacking midfielder under Thomas Frank in Spurs. Their hardest fixture coming up is against Man City, but other than that, they play Burnley, Bournemouth, West Ham. So yeah, 6.5 million, not a bad option at all. And now the Premier League's Forrest Gump, Mr. Chili Cole Palmer. I've spoken about him in my previous video. Basically, I have doubts. It's crazy to say because he's the highest owned player in the game, which is making me second guess myself, but just hear me out, all right? The first half of the season last year, Palmer achieved a goal involvement of around 1 per 90 minutes, 1 goal or assist every game, bested only by Salah and Saka. However, the best thing I did was transfer Palmer early last season because the second half of the season was awful. His goal involvements per 90 fell from an average of 1 goal or assist a game all the way down to 0.3 for the entire second half of the season. Harvey Barnes, Decore, Rice, Garnacho, they all had a better goal involvement per 90 than Palmer for the entire second half of the season. So for me, if I were to go against the grain, I think I'd be justified in not getting Palmer and putting that money elsewhere in my team. Maybe put in Fernandes from Manchester United instead. Sounds crazy, I know. But he gets both defensive and attacking contributions. And being £1.5 million cheaper, we can use that extra cash to possibly upgrade Kudus, as an example, should you wish. Now let's touch upon the forwards. But first, if you enjoyed this video so far, please do like and subscribe. Help an FPL brother out. So I think we're getting to what I think could be the weakest part of this team. First, Gyökeres. Arsenal's fixtures aren't incredible. I'm sure Gyökeres will score, but I think a safer pick on paper is Watkins at Villa, who's the same price as Gyökeres at £9 million. Arsenal, they're facing Manchester United, Leeds and Liverpool in the first 3 game weeks, while Villa have Newcastle, Brentford and Palace. Watkins, for me, it just makes more sense. Now for João Pedro, another player who happens to be at Chelsea, who I also have doubts over. Pedro, he's never been a prolific goal contributor. Not saying he can't turn into one, but last year, half of his 10 goals were penalties, and he's now in a team where he won't be the #1 penalty taker. But Chelsea have some of the best early fixtures, so if he were to score these first weeks against Palace, West Ham, Fulham and Brentford, this would be the best time for him to score. So yeah, I do understand the pick. And the bench, that ain't too shabby either. Backup keeper Dubravka, obvious choice, will now be Burnley's #1 and only £4 million. That's a steal. Only issue is, as of recording, both Kelleher and Dubravka both have minor fitness doubts, so you would have to be extremely unlucky for both of these players to miss game week 1. But if you want to play safe, then you may need to think about an alternative keeper for the first week. Aaron Ramsey, not the ex-Arsenal midfielder, this one is a younger model at Burnley. Have to be honest, not sure what makes him such a popular pick, probably just because he's a £4.5 million midfielder and the best option at that price range who could see some semi-regular minutes. I imagine he's just occupying everyone's benches. But if you're a Burnley fan, please, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Van de Ven, Spurs defender, I get it. £4.5 million, Spurs fixtures aren't too bad. Ignoring City, they play Burnley, Bournemouth and West Ham, so potential for defensive contributions and maybe a clean sheet if Thomas Frank can turn around Spurs' defensive fortunes. And finally, a good shout, which I didn't think of, is Mark. I'm not going to say his last name because I have no idea how to say it. Mark, insert name here, Paz, on loan from Chelsea to Sunderland. Great option to have on the bench. A forward at just £4.5 million. I might steal this idea. Now, if you remember earlier in the video, the top 15 most owned players make a combined ownership percentage of 471%. However, it was just too expensive to make a team out of. This team, however, has a total of 450%, incredibly close, and at a price of just 99.5 million. So a cool 500,000 you can take home and treat yourself with. Why not? So let me know in the comments, what do you think of the most template team in the world, and how many of these players are actually in your squad? And don't forget, I'm going to be battling this team every week in my own mini league, so subscribe now to keep updated. I don't know what I will call this series, perhaps something like Man versus world. Because FPL sucks so much sometimes that it can certainly feel like it. Alright, see you later.